Do you want to know why this process is why life is where life begins? Because of what the amazing moment that happens with it, okay? It's the divine spark, okay? And it is why Jesus talked to Nicodemus about the air, because God is the air. It's the air, it's the breath, okay? So you will never receive that divine spark until you're born, which is why that's when life begins, which is why God has it all over his word. Yeah, everywhere. It's undeniable, undeniable. I would not say that if it was not undeniable. It's undeniable. Again, I've done enough videos. I constantly come across more showing it too. I'm like more verses. So, but that's what this moment, it's because, the air is, so that's when the life begins. Before that, the baby is operating on a natural, artificial life support. So when this amazing moment happens, this is why God said this is when the mother will forget all of her childbirth pain, because this, she'll hear that sound, okay? And this is an amazing process that takes place, okay? Because it's the very first time the baby is breathing in, okay? Taking its first breath, God blowing it into the nostrils. Get it? It totally makes sense. That's why that's where life begins. Okay, so when a newborn takes their first breath, several rapid, crucial changes occur. The lungs, previously filled with fluid, are inflated with air, and the fluid is cleared or absorbed. Oxygen begins to diffuse into the blood vessels surrounding the alveoli, triggering a dramatic drop in lung pressure and resistance to blood flow. This pressure change increases blood flow to the lungs and redirects blood away from the fetal shunts, which start to close, establishing normal postnatal circulation. The first breath also triggers key changes in the brain, breathing system, setting up lifelong patterns for respiration. See why God talked about breath and life so much? Within minutes, the newborn's blood becomes fully oxygenated and the baby's skin turns pink as oxygen replaces carbon dioxide. This transition is essential for newborns to survive outside the womb as it shifts from the placental to independent lung-based oxygen exchange. So this is when life begins. It's the divine spark, because that's when God gets the air into the baby. That's why you hear the sound. That's why God says that's the amazing moment. It's the divine spark, okay? It's the breath of life, all right? Before that, the baby's not breathing. It's got fluid in its lungs. Charlie Kirk, because he's so against abortion and he's nuts, okay? This far-right group, they're even more nuts than I thought, but I get to it. They're so up to no good, though, all of them are. They're not just not this sinister. It is. It's worse than I thought. But I heard him say in a video that a C-section is safer than abortion. Yeah, no, Charlie, really, please. Did you go to nursing school, Charlie? Did you? No, you're just, you say whatever your handlers tell you to say. Yeah. So, no. Actually, C-section is dangerous in some, because the reason the birth canal is so important, really, is because it pushes that fluid that's everywhere, like especially on the lungs, out as it delivers. So that's why birth is most important. But Charlie's answer when asked about, well, what if a mother's life is in danger, like her life's threatened? And he said, well, you don't have to do an abortion, just do a C-section. Yeah, so a C-section isn't always a safe thing to do. It's not. But then he goes on to say, look it up. C-section is safer than abortion. Yeah, that's total propaganda. So what people need to understand about this far right propaganda, they've done this since the early 90s. I noticed it in the early 90s because of what pictures they were putting out. Everywhere you look online, if you've never seen an embryo, this is what they're going to show you. But they've been doing this propaganda since the early 90s. This is a very, very well-organized group, and they will not let go, and they don't have good intentions, believe me, because they pick and choose when it's about God, okay? I'll get to it. This is not an embryo. This is, if you go look up what a picture, this is meant to, it's not. It's not. And many times, even they've been called out on it before, though, to where, and Life magazine and many of the, because again, the science works with them, because this is really designed to lead a bunch of Christians astray. That's what it's designed to do. Because why would the science want to do anything? Because it absolutely, even though, yeah, we know how the process takes place. They say that life begins at fertilization. No, it begins when it's born into this world is what was most important. I'm not saying, get rid of it before then. But it's not murder. So, the science can say whatever they want. They're not the judge at the end of the day. However, let me show you what a real embryo looks like. This is an embryo. Very different, right? Yeah, very. So as much as that's why these radical sides, right, they are so ridiculous. They are not about Jesus's word. They know they're not about Jesus's word too, and it is the reason they have millions of followers. But they are very well organized. They will not give up on this. I think they have gotten into Trump's inner circle, and they're not going to change his mind. This same group is all against IVF. Yeah, because they see this as this is, IVF is, Trump has approved that, I think, even for women, because he wants to help women get pregnant that have a hard time getting pregnant. I mean, I wouldn't expect Charlie Kirk and all them to care about it, as if Charlie Kirk should even have a say in this, okay? I mean, he's 30 years old, but get this. I mean, talk about these people thinking they're God. But yet they carry on about IVF. Oh, you're playing God. No, why don't you get back to your own families and mind your own damn business? That's what Jesus would be telling you. This is not of your concern. You're not standing up for his word, and you're not. So stop your nonsense. But they make all these excuses, okay? So, and it's the same Christians. It's the Southern Baptist Convention, Roman Catholic, Protestant, and Evangelical. They strongly oppose it, teaching that procreation should only occur through natural means within marriage. Well, then I wonder why they want to force women that are raped and trafficked to have the baby if they don't want to have it. Yeah. Like, see what I mean? The hypocrisy you'll find everywhere with these people. And the church objects to IVF because it separates conception from the marital act and often leads to the destruction or freezing of embryos, which are considered human life deserving. So they think that's what I mean. When you say this is human life, then God says you don't even have the Holy Spirit in you, because when you have the Holy Spirit in you, you have common sense. You actually think clearly. You actually have a new mind, a new everything. So these people, they have a spirit. It's not the one you want to be listening to. So an embryo, it's a collection of cells. So if you think for a minute that God sees that as a life, then you don't know the Holy Spirit, or you've been propagandized. Please, life begins when the breath. That doesn't mean God just wants you just aborting everything. No, it's not that. But let me also clear something else up, okay? And that's the fruit of the womb, because I looked further into this. So the far right loves to say, no, God says it's the fruit of the womb. Yeah, well, you got to kind of understand who he's saying it to, though. Because who he's saying that it's because as it says here, behold, children are the inheritance of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb, his reward. He's not talking about God. God's not talking about himself. He's talking about the husband. If the husband has a wife that has a egg full, let's say, like I did earlier, the seeds and the fruit. Okay, so if he has a wife that has many eggs, a fruitful womb, because he'll, as it says, goes on, he'll have many arrows in his quiver, be a strong man. Okay, blessed is the man that hath his quiver full of them, for they shall not be ashamed when they speak with their enemies at the gate. So again, this fruit of the womb thing is really talking about the husband and wife dynamic. Okay. That the husband is lucky. It's his reward, okay? So then when the woman's raped or trafficked, which is also rape, that doesn't really apply, does it? Yeah, so that far-right Christian group, they're out of their minds, they're crazy, and I'm going to follow this up with more, because just wait till you hear what they have to say about IVF, and I'm just going to show all of their hypocrisy so that hopefully whatever Christians can hear will hear.